Senegal to Sugar Hill, trace the bloodline. 100 years of brilliance through the color line. They thought the shackles broke but kept the mental chain. Langston penned the future while they legislated pain. Harlem's ballrooms birthed the cosmos in mahogany, while lynching trees still decorated southern botany. Josephine, Waker's pearls, and Garvey's Navy ships. Du Bois debating destiny with scholarship on his lips. The Renaissance was a renaissance, it was resistance, fam. Every trumpet blast from Armstrong was a battering ram. They gave us minstrel shows, we gave them Sora Neal. Turned depression into art, made the fabricator real. Cotton Club excluded us from tables every set. To form the Deanus Nightly, never free from the debt. But Bessie Smith could shatter glass, shatter cash, shatter lies. Every note she sang contained a revolution in disguise. Build temples from the rubble, make cathedrals from the struggle. Turn the margins to the center, now they study what we scribble. We build temples from the rubble, every generation double. The inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from. Fast forward through the decades, watch the pattern reassemble. Malcolm's speeches, Martin's marches, every voice begins to tremble to the earth until the structure shows its fractures. FBI was tracking every coon with every pastor, every actor. 40 acres never came but 40 minutes on a stage. To reconvene your consciousness and channelize the rage. From bebop to hip-hop, the fool lines mathematical. Each generation weaponized the beautiful, the radical. They gave us Reagan out as crack and mass incarceration. We gave them Public Enemy and blueprints for liberation. The Harlem Renaissance never ended, just evolved its form. Every freestyle cipher is a brainstorm, is a storm. Where the children of the talented, the tenth that was prophesied, inherit the fire that the water couldn't wash aside. They tried to write us out the narrative. We offered all on text, 100 years of proof, and that we're destined. Where was next? Temples from the rubble, made cathedrals from the struggle. Turned the largest to the center, now they study what we scribble. We built temples from the rubble, every generation double. The inheritance of genius that they tried to keep us from.
All right. This is, and you are, of course, on Under the Groove. This is Under the Groove Podcast, people. Happy Monday. All right. To say the least. For right now, to say the least. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
May everyone's day have been everything you guys set out for it to be. All right. Peace and prosperity. I think that's the goal, man. We're here, man. Let's make the most of it. All right. Yeah. So, hey, here we are. I got in today. Went and visited some family, some loved ones. You know, wanted to touch bases with them. You know, these are people who are mainstays in our lives. You know, been knowing them for a very, very, very long time. So, want to tap in with them. You know, and you know, just bring our energy and our love, our respect to them. So, you know, that was accomplished. You know, and then stop by and saw Cuzzo. You know. And hollered at him for a little bit. You know, it's always a good look to hang around him for, you know, however long we're around, you know what I mean? But that being said, man, here we are. There you are. You know, let's get it in. I got something today. I wanted to show this Friday, but I think the clip is something like, maybe 10 minutes long, you know. But I want to show the clip because it pertains to everything we hear in the news today in terms of technology. All right. But a lot of us are missing it. You know, we think of technology just in terms of cell phones, laptops, you know, things of that nature, AI, you know, but there's another aspect of technology, biotechnology, right? A lot of us don't really want to put our finger on or wrap our minds around that. And I think that in terms of technology is something we should really be focused on, because biotechnology, in terms of how they're developing it today, will affect us in some form of fashion in the very near future. Now, I say that because they have this new project. Now, if everyone recalls, there was a Plan 2025 or whatever that was, Donald Trump was working on before he got reelected, right? 47th president of the United States. Well, 2025 is in effect. We see it in real time, you know, going on, happening, and not just to immigrants, man, but anybody that plan or that whatever it was designed for, you know, whoever it was designed for, we see it in full effect. It's happening. Trust that. Know that. So now they have another one, and it is called Agenda 2030. This one evolves around concerns biotechnology, man. This is the one. This is how they've they're inside you. Put it like that. They're inside you, and they get inside with a syringe or some other way, maybe in capsule form or something. But what they're shooting in you is nanotechnology on a level that it's actually not even nanotechnology. It develops into nanotechnology inside you. Yeah, it sounds crazy, right? But you need to hear this, man. Brace yourselves for this, because I'm telling you, it's the real deal. It is happening. So when they did these shots, everybody got to recall this COVID, and then the other one, that they just came out, COVID 21 or whatever that was. Allegedly, that is the biotechnology being inserted into your bodies, being injected into your bodies. All right. It's the test run. I think 2021, 2020, whenever COVID came out, was 2020, 2019, whatever. It had to start somewhere. See, COVID just came out of nowhere, boom, and they blamed it on China. Yeah, man, look, this is where they play ball. All right. Anyway, supposedly designed, or it came to be, or was developed so that they could experiment with this new form of biotechnology. I'm not going to speak too long on it. I got the clip. You know that. It's about, like I said, 10 minutes long. And hey, man, we got to open our minds and focus on the focus, just so that we can, get an understanding of what awaits us in the future. A lot of people saying, "Oh man, well, this, that, and the third." When the conversation is about AI taking over, a lot of people don't see where that makes sense. Okay, that's fine. What about biotechnology? People shooting or injecting in you biotechnology. Do we consider that to be something real? Is that feasible? Is that at all possible? If there's a probability that can happen, then guess what? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. 0.05%. It's gonna happen. So I have that clip, and it's insightful, man. It's insightful. We're gonna get right to that in a hot second. I was sending in a text to you guys. I looked up. I said, "Oh shit, it's 6:15." So my thing is, hey man, UTG, RGC, man, the Royal Group Congregation, to all our brothers and sisters, African American, Black American, FBA, Indigenous. Hey, here we are. All right, and know for a fact that we're all in the same boat. I don't care what title that or label we want to apply to ourselves to separate each other. It doesn't matter. We're in the same boat. I don't care what title you under. You could be boule, but still, you're gonna follow somebody's rule. You're gonna do what you're told. You know what I mean? You really no different than anyone else. They just use the boule to go and keep those beneath them, the boule, in line. Fact of the matter is, we're all in the same boat. Care how much money you got. Don't care. And actually, money is really not the issue. Money, to them it matters, but money for us having money don't mean jack to them, because we're really not a part of the program. All right. That being said, listen, we do these things to where we've been so conditioned, man, to where we start to do to ourselves what others have done to us. We carry the banner now. We push the line now. They have to do, in most cases, not even suggest anything, you know what I mean? Or they suggest something and fall back and let it take, let that idea, that concept, that advice take its course. They have to do very little nowadays because we told a cue. A lot of us say we call it Stockholm syndrome. A lot of us say Willie Lynch. Again, though, if it's Stockholm syndrome, then we're looking at, or our perception is through white gaze. We're looking at us and each other through their gaze, how they see us. You know what I mean? That could be that Stockholm, whatever, you know. The Willie Lynch is that divide and conquer, you know. And so all kind of things come up or invented, created, you know, and spoken about to create the, you know, division and dissension amongst us. No one else. No one else fights about this in terms of these labels that have been given to us that we want to carry, you know, wear on our sleeves. No one else fights about this, man, but us. And I tell you, that's messed up, man, because I think that for the most part, a lot of us are fighting over or about something that we really had no real knowledge, understanding of. That's just my opinion. All right. I went and looked up a couple of things today, you know, and I did my little research. You know, I'm like I was in a law library trying to get out of prison from under a life sentence. And, you know, I discovered a few things, you know. It was said to me in the chat, in the comments, that Jesse Jackson, let's say pushed. I'm not going to say create because I know better now. The term African American, you know, he pushed it, no doubt. You know, around 89, 88, 89, he did that. You know, but the term African American had been around way back in 1788. You know, it was already used by a black individual. You know, did a sermon on it. You know, research it. It's there. So I found that out today. I said, okay, so we don't even want to give Jesse Jackson that credit. And he probably pushed it. Yeah, okay. But hey, the term was being used way back when. Now, when it comes to FBA, come to understand, you know, that is also something that just the term was piggybacked off of Dr. Claude, I think it was Claude Anderson. All right. Just his mentioning of certain things, and from that, somebody, you know, they came up with this thing, FBA. My point, though, to either of them, to both, is that they create division, man. They create division amongst the people, you know, because some people might not be okay with being called African American. Some people may not be okay with being called Black American. Some people may not be okay with being called FBA, a foundational Black American, you know. And then when you talk about or dissect what FBA is, you know, there's some problems in there. There are issues, you know. Again, I said this Friday that I sometimes get the impression that FBAs want to be the new leader or shot caller in terms of Black people. It's their way or the highway. If you're not FBA, you ain't shit. You know, that's creating division. You know, that's being, you know, that's dissension. You know, from what was already established. For, you know, for instance, you know, okay, you want to descend from that. You want to be like, I don't want to be African American. Truth doesn't matter. It's no matter whether you were here before slavery or after. Your roots, your lineage comes from there. And wherever that is, you know, yeah, come on, man. We're one and the same. You know, we've been separated. The diaspora has made that possible in a lot of respects. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter remains, man, we same genetics. Same genetics. In fact, don't nobody even have the genetics we have. That makes us one. That makes us from the same source. You know what I mean? But we have all this unity, you know, this division. And I'm telling you guys, it's a distraction. It's a distraction. It really serves no purpose. And for all you educated brothers and sisters who all you professed, or those who claim to be educated, you got to see the forest for the trees, man. You got to see that it doesn't really serve a purpose. You know, it just doesn't. You know, okay, you want to distinguish, you know, this delineation, this thing y'all be on about, oh, well, if they didn't come at this period or at this time or after, after that, if they came after the fact, no, you know, or well, anyway, we were here before that and still we ended up, you know, we were free men and we ended up in this situation. So we're entitled to, look, man, it's all division. They got us arguing about this shit that they did. We're arguing amongst each other about titles and labels in terms of how we should be identified. And again, that's not an accurate identification of who the hell we are or where we come from. Think about that shit, man. That shit's crazy. It's crazy. You know, it shows that we've lost our minds. If that's what we're on. If that's what we're on, we've lost our minds. I don't hear any of these identifications as black people or melanated people, maybe that's more acceptable, about or discussions about, okay, man, break the system down, dismantle the system. Let's fight for that. Where's our energy in that or on that? Where are we as a people in terms of deconstructing, breaking down, dismantling a system that we all are very aware of, don't give a damn about any of us? And yet we participate in this system. We participate in it so much so that we are at each other's throats about a damn title or label about what to call us. We don't even know. We're the only ones who don't know. And I don't think that it's impossible for us to find out. We're geniuses. If we want to really get to the root of the issue, we want identification. We want to be able to identify who we are. Hey, man, that exists. That opportunity, man, that exists. We can do that. Yet we're stuck on labeling ourselves. We're stuck on labeling ourselves to identify in a society or to identify ourselves to a society that doesn't give a flying flick about any of us. This shit is crazy. It's crazy. You know, there's so much being said about all of them. African American, Black American, FBA, all of them. And it's as if one want to outsell us over the other. One want to be the leader of us over the other, you know, and also continue with this program or this system that we really have no business participating in, but everybody want to be the top dog in a system that treats us like dogs. That's some crazy stuff to me, man. You know, and I'm just an individual. You know, it's my opinion. I'm speaking my opinion. You don't have to agree. And if you don't, that's fine. Put it in the comments. Put it in the comments. Let's discuss it. You know, but we have brothers and sisters who are fighting each other. And it's not just in that respect, you know, in terms of who has the most say or proof that we should be identified as A, B, or C. You know, we have brothers and sisters fighting themselves over streets we don't own, you know, over colors, words, you know, and none of which actually does any, it serves no purpose in terms of our excellence, our empowerment, you know, our betterment, our health, none of that. We're in the streets fighting over streets that we don't own. You know, and we're doing it all over social media as well as on the streets. So yeah, something's wrong. Well, again, just my opinion. Just my opinion. You know, just my opinion. So there's a lot up in here. I want to get started right quick, man, and then boom, we're gonna knock some of these out. We're gonna drop this clip because, like I said, man, it's a bombshell. You know, and I can't believe. Well, I can't say that just yet, but I have this notion that many of us aren't aware of what's really happening. You know, and again, that's only because we're being distracted in a major way. In a major way. Not only do we have all this back and forth amongst each other on social media, man, we have the government, man, implementing policies and laws, you know, deconstructing laws, taking away certain advantages of services, man, to make our situation, our lives worse. We got all that to contend with. High price of gas, food, mortgage, utilities. I mean, man, we've been bombarded. We're not the only one. I'm not trying to make it like the blacks are the only ones on this island, in terms of struggling right now in this, in the world, in terms of finances, just keeping up with bills. I'm saying, as a people, no one gets it harder than us. No one goes through it like we do, because we're at the lower rung. We're at the lower rung of the ladder. Everybody shits on us. And we pretend we don't see this shit. And now and then we come up in arms, we get riled up, our feathers get ruffled when, a Mexican says something, or a Latino says something, or, a white a white person says something. We get riled up a little bit. It don't last long, because then we're distracted that quick, again, all over again. And we forget, man, who the real enemy is. We tend to think that it's us, each other, and we're wrong, man. We're wrong about that. We got all kind of people. They sit up and they devise plans, agendas. Agenda 2030 is one, to where they make this stuff up. It's to do one thing, man. It's to destroy us, because we are the problem. They don't want to wait to see if we get it together. Why would they? A fool would do that. I wouldn't wait for somebody to get together to come and get me. I just wouldn't. If I knew, somebody knew that I did something just atrociously wrong to them for forever, and that someday they're going to get together and they're going to, no. I might have a plan, a strategy. Strategy is whatever, But, let's be real, man. Any of us, we wouldn't wait. We wouldn't wait. I'm gonna give you an example, and just why I know why I'm saying this. Look in the streets. We got this mentality about each other, and we don't wait. Go and get them. What we do. They do that. That's where we learned it from. They do that. So as we sitting up trying to figure out how to come together, how to strategize, how to unify, they got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 plans in place, and then they got the ultimate weapon after that if that don't work, But again, they know better than us, man. We're unstoppable. We just don't know it yet. They can't do away with us. It would take us to do that to us. They just hope that they could keep enough in front of us, all these shiny things, keep us acting like monkeys, so that we don't see the forest for the trees. All we see is shiny things, all we see is, materialism, what we want. Another plant, part of their get down. That's the playbook. But that being said, man, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I was talking to one of the loved ones today about this. He said, well, Bub, all right, so if all black folks said for 1 week, we don't go and shop, we don't spend, we don't do nothing, man, what's the plan? Why? What do we, what's the reason for that? What's the purpose? I said, all right, for one, if we're paying attention, we'll see how that affects, how it affects the economy, the system. See, we prop this shit up on our backs, on our shoulders. If we were to extract ourselves, and I went so far as to, man, damn, a week. I said, do a trial run, do a test run, have brothers and sisters mentally ready, spiritually prepared to go a month. We ain't paying nobody nothing. Nothing. The system would collapse. And if we stayed the course, the system would have to change. It would have to. Now we're in the seat of bargaining. We can bargain. We got the cards. We don't even know we owe the deck. Like, well, what? I say, man, well, what is the purpose of it? Listen, man, when that happens, what we need to be, before we do anything, though, have a plan, have a strategy. I agree. What's the purpose? What's the reason for us wanting to dismantle this system, what would be the purpose? It would be to build our own, and not necessarily from it, but against it. A system that serves us, that gives us autonomy, that gives us control over our ecosystem, that system within our communities, us. You know, it puts us in a position where we could take our 1.5 trillion and build hospitals, universities, farms where we grow our own food, create water reservoirs where our water, we maintain that, all that, man. That would be the purpose, to create independence. That's freedom. See, the freedom we be talking about now, some bull crap, man. It's crap. It's all cap. That I don't want that freedom. That ain't freedom. It's more the same. It's more of the same. Freedom is releasing ourselves again from a system we know does not serve us. It doesn't serve us, man. So why we would do it? To create autonomy for ourselves. We're the master builders. We're mathematicians. We are the best of the best on the earth, man. We are the salt of the earth. There's nothing we can't do. And we understand that. A lot have been convinced that we can't do a whole lot. The system have us believing, man, that we can't survive without the system. Without the system providing grocery stores where we go buy our food from them, water, bringing water into communities. If they didn't bring it, we died thirst. The system got us trusting and believing that without them, we're done for. Bull crap, man. The system needs us. So why would we do it? To create autonomy for us. There's no better course of action. There's no better purpose or goal. Self-autonomy, man. But hey, anyway. All right, James, what it do, loved one? And this is Under the Groove Podcast, y'all. Where everything is above board, all right? Everything is above board. Here, we tend to want to focus on the focus. Let's get to the meat of the matter, That's what this should be about, man. I don't care about that hood gossip, sect gossip, gang gossip, what athletes are fighting each other, who's messing around with whose wife, entertainers tripping on one. Oh, man, that's all bullcrap, What are we going to do, man, to improve our station in life? Anyway, hey, James, how you do, man? You go salute Bub and all citizens of the universe, brothers and sisters, spending mine all the time, big bro. I appreciate you. Right back to you, bro. Peace and prosperity, you and the fam, man. Same to you, Alonzo. I see you. Peace to the RGC and you, Bub, and your family. I reciprocate that, man, to you and yours as well, man. Right quick, I was hollering at another loved one. And these brothers, I have to say, man, see, these brothers come from the Mecca, so to speak, in terms of Black excellence and empowerment. They out of Tulsa. All right. Black Wall Street, all that. And again, don't get it twisted. There was more than one Black Wall Street in this country. They just tend to tell us about 3 or 4 of them when they were all over the country, man. Blacks was doing the damn thing, all right? But again, they control history. They control the narrative. So a lot of us only think there were 1 or 2 or 3, maybe 4. They don't tell you, man, blacks own all the coastlines, the beaches, from the south, man, to the east, man, and all in spite of segregation, in spite of Jim Crow. That's what happened, But anyway, them brothers down that way in Tulsa, man, hollered at me, man. And a lot of respect. I was sending a shout out to Tulsa, Oklahoma, man, to our loved ones, man. Y'all know what to do. Peace and blessings to you brothers down that way, man. The Groove Line specifically, man. Much love and respect to you brothers. Do the damn thing. Make it happen, man. Come together. Come together, man. We're not tripping on fraternities right now. You dig? We tripping on unity, man. That's where the thought process should be. Unity, not the fraternity. I love my community. I love the fraternity. I just don't like how the fraternity functions, what its script is, what its purpose is. I'm against all that. But to you brothers, man, peace and prosperity. Keep doing the damn things. I'll see you guys soon. It's been decided, we'll be coming down to the Black Wall Street Festival in Tulsa. We're coming to hang out, man. I'm bringing the camera and shit. We're going to get it in. All right. We're going to get it in. Hopefully we get enough coverage and content to come back, share with the people. Let them see what needs to be done, how it should be. All right. And if there's any other spot in these great states, the lower 48, let us know. Let us know. Where brothers are getting it together, man. They're not fighting one another. They're not knocking each other off. They trying to get it, and they're trying to get it together. That means something to us. All right. So, again, shout out to my brothers over in Tulsa, man. Y'all know the business, man. Stay the course. All right. Continue to focus on the focus, man. You should be proud of yourselves, man. And not only that, man, but aspire to do even more. Aspire to do even more, man. Own it. Own it rightfully, though. There's owning and there's legally owning. You know what I mean? Be real aware of that. All right. And I learned that from a lot of brothers in RGC that a Lodio, get out, that real ownership. All right. But anyway, I digress, man. Peace and prosperity to you brothers. All right. But anyway, the brother hit me with, in some respects, the lives go too long. He said, they're too long, bub. You think about, because a lot of people have things to do. They have schedules. They have priorities. I don't disagree with that. That's the truth. Because we talk about that here. A lot of people, they might come an hour late. You know what I mean? But that's understood. That's respected. Because, yeah, man, for the time being, they're in the system. They have to do certain things to make ends meet. So we don't knock the people for that. So our saying here is a better late than never. All right. So in terms of cutting it down or whatnot, probably not, because these are lives, However, I am not just taking into consideration. We will be doing just on the regular Under the Groove podcast, 30-minute get downs, and we're gonna shoot the same or drop the same gems and jewels there that we do here, So that's coming. All right. And for the people who may think that what may come out my mouth or what's being said in terms of the RGC, the chat and everything, that is, little highfalutin, it's above people's heads or whatnot. Nah, man, don't look at it like that. Look at it like, all right, I'm learning something. Okay. If I don't know what that word means, have your dictionary sitting close to you, man. See, because you can always scroll up and down these comments and you can read it, learn, get this shit right, y'all, get it right, so we'll make, we'll make it where, we're not trying to leave nobody behind in terms of what we discuss, what we debate, what we dialogue on. But, at the same time, we're going to ask that, okay, man, add a little more to yours, put a little more effort into this, come on, get in and get it. All right. So I say that respectfully to my loved ones, to our people. We're not gonna dummy nothing down. That's nah. If you mean to get something from this, then pay attention. Pay attention. Let's focus on the focus. All right. If you gotta wait to hit that blunt, give yourself 30 minutes of this, man, without hitting that blunt or without hitting that Henny. Have that sister go sit over there for a little while, man, so you can focus. That's how we're gonna do this, man. We're gonna keep it the way it's supposed to be. We're gonna ride this thing out, man. And again, man, we won't be above board. Anything beneath that, man, ain't right. We're gonna keep it above board, all right? And all due respect, that's to my brothers, man, everywhere. Everywhere. Okay. Where am I? Okay. Is this it? All right. So yeah, man, let me get back into these comments. But again, respectfully, peace and prosperity, love and respect to my loved ones from everywhere. All right. Straight up. Okay. So there that go, man. James said, man, steady coming through with the mothership connection. One people under the groove. Lonzo, man, James, peace, bro. I hope all is well. All right. Yeah, man. Brothers is up in here. All right, Tantrum Nose. It's always good to see you up in here as well, brother. You say he here, OG. Yeah, man. Place to be. We here together, man. It's a good look. I'm telling y'all, we're stronger together than we are apart. Facts. I know I didn't just say something that wasn't true. We are stronger together than we are apart, man. So where you are, I'm there. You know, I support you. Again, let's keep it above board, you know. Let's have that integrity intact, man. Them principles lined up right, man. Have our morals, man, righteously set. You know, that compass, man, is doing what it's supposed to do. Hey, man, can't nothing stop us but us. That's it. That's it. You know, real spit. All right, Tantrum, though. Anyway, peace and prosperity to you, brother. All right, B60, what's going on? Greetings and salutations to you, Bub, and the RGC B1 equals Black First. Oh, Black First was also another one. And again, we're not in that fray. You know, Black First, FBA, you know, African man. Listen, man, Black First, I think that has a serious connotation to it. You know, it has a serious kind of Black First. What does that mean? Right? Why not? You could be hollering Black First and still be African American, Black American, FBA. We're talking about Black First. We're talking about finally putting us on the front burner, putting us first, all our issues and our concerns first. You know, we see enough of us, the melanated people, putting on the back burner, being put on the back burner, ain't cooking, you know, just sitting back there on that back burner, ain't nothing happening, you know, and we're on the fourth burner, not even the second or the third, you know. We see our own people, man, going to politics and they put us on the back burner, but they got everybody else cooking. They got them from Israel, man, to immigrants. They cooking. We in the pot on the back burner, man. Ain't nothing happening, man. Ain't nothing happening. Be first, man. B1 equals Black First. That's what it should be about. All right, Queen Nzinga, she says, hey, RGC, is good to be here and see everyone. Peace and blessings to all the kings and queens. B1. James said, man, what that Monday like, man, I'm trying to cruise through and not let nothing give me them blues. Hey, man, yeah, we know enough blues, right? Oh, yeah, this one of the old ones right here. You know, I don't know how many of these things I got. Some I don't even wear, man. You want to get you one, man. UTG. I got them without the word groove spelled out for those who might still be in that mindset, you know. But again, you know, when, you know, I got t-shirts, what's under your groove? That shit means something. I'm talking about a foundation, man. You know, it's almost like, hey, what's under your hood? You know what I mean? When you do that, when you say that, somebody go to the front of the car, they pop the hood. They pop the hood. They want, what kind of engine in that mother? What's making this thing go? What's keeping it upright? What, hey, you know? Come on, man. It's all the same, y'all. But we get caught up on words and colors, like I said, how we look at one another, treat one another, man. We on some BS, and let's get past that so we can get to where we supposed to be, where everybody are afraid, where most people are afraid of us reaching that destination, that spot. In this day and age where, you know, we are on our game, man, we done wrote a whole new playbook. You know, everything else, man, is on the back burner. We cooking. They're worried about that, man, that we're going to come into our own. We're going to come into the know, and we're going to cook. Let's get to that. Let's get to that. We owed it to the ancestors. We owed it to our kids, our grandkids, and our great-grandkids. We owed it to all those generations that have yet to be produced. When they get here, Got to be a foundation, man. It has to be a foundation already set for them to stand on. That's the truth, man. That's the truth. Henry Cedello. All right, you say peace and blessings, everyone. Mr. Bub, salute to you and family. Right back to you, Mr. Henry. Hey, peace and prosperity, you and yours, bro. Good to see you here, as always, becoming the mainstay, man. We appreciate that, man. Again, man, everyone's support is appreciated here, you know. As most of y'all know, we don't beg the people for nothing. We ask that you come in. Yeah, you like and you share, all right? Subscribe if you see fit, you know. But the fact of the matter is that you brothers and sisters are coming, you know. You're coming, man. And all we have to offer, man, is this conversation, you know, these gems and jewels. At least that's what we like to think they are when we dropping them, you know. And that, man, we are cool with knowing that we got brothers and sisters up in this get down, man, that support righteousness is with the business. That's all that matters to us, all right? So, Henry, man, appreciate you up in here, all right? Lisa Morris says, man, Grand Rising, big brother, blessings to you and the family. Peace and love to the kings and queens in the RGC B1 Black First. Pope Mitchell up in here, man. You say top of it, bub. Focus on the focus. Blessings to the UTG and RGC. Good to see you, Pope. Good to see you, Pope. Got something going on, Pope. Want to invite you to it. Don't worry. Don't worry. Be tapping in with you in a little bit. Tantrum Nose said, man, CERN, 99.999 speed of light. 100 countries, 17 miles underground, laps 11,000 times, 17 miles a second. Let me see, where did I go? Because it looked like something came before that. Time to know, say nanobots are dangerous. They could be good to use the proper. They could be good to use the proper way, but they are very, very dangerous. They made a movie, a couple of them about it. Or I guess that's CERN 99.99. I don't know. Maybe that's the movie. I don't know. All right, there she go. One of our queens. All right. Kimberly Mitchell should say, Hoover, hey, real one. Sorry I've missed y'all. I'm here. Hey, better late than never. It's good to see you front and center present with this get down. So it's always a beautiful thing when our sisters, our queens come and hang out with us, y'all. And when they come, I swear to y'all, I wait for the gems and the jewels to be dropped. I'm going to keep 100. You know, because I trust that this me, you know, and I know a lot of brothers don't agree, but they are the foundation. You know, I just think that, you know, in a lot of ways, man. So it's always an honor to see the sisters up in this get down with us. All right. So appreciate you, Lisa. Appreciate you, Queen and Zinga. Appreciate you, Kimberly. Michelle, for you guys being here. Your presence is sorely needed and, you know, appreciated. All right. Straight up. Henry said, man, much respect to all. Okay. I agree. Okay. James said, man, respectfully, I could care less for biotechnology or AI or any of that jive. They're going to do what they're going to do with it. I got a pot of boiling water for any punk robot trying to come mess with me, bro. James, be ready, man. That energy be up, boy. That energy be up. Kimberly said, hey, man, that Black Fist, Orange Love, 100 Kings and Queens. Blessings to y'all. All right, Hannibal says, salute, bub. Salute right back to you, Hannibal. All right, good to see you up in here, man. Appreciate that. B60 said, man, when you see a Haitian, Jamaican, African, or anyone who looks like us, we are all the same people, treated the same way. Hey, come on, man. There you go. Lonzo said, man, I'm not educated. I dropped out of high school. But I got mines in prison, bro. All right. So, and I don't consider myself to be educated like some would, you know, probably hold against me. You know what I mean? Because we got them type of brothers and sisters too. You know, I went to Harvard, you know. I went to Oxford, you know. I don't give a damn, man. You know, you went to Stanford. I don't care about none of that, you know. For the most part, man, that what you're learning, hey, I got an opinion on that. We ain't gonna share it right now. But yeah, man, you know, teach his own, man. Power is in the people, all right? Power is in the people. For those of us who are not highly educated, I tell you what, our souls, man, and our mindsets are locked on the right thing. It's always going to be us, man. They get it done. They push the line, you know? It's always going to be us, you know? It's going to be on the forefront, you know? While they up in the front house or whatever, it's going to be us, man, in the field making it happen. So I love that category, I'm in. You know what I mean? There's a saying that, when our people, some of them become so educated, they talk a good one, but they toe the cue with the system, the status quo. They very few, very rarely come back and divest or give back what they learn, in terms of making corporations rich, governments powerful. They very rarely come back to the community and do the same for that community. So I'm all right where I'm at. I'm all right where I'm at, and I said it just like that. I'm all right where I'm at. Yeah, I'm behind the proposition that, man. But anyway, hey, you ain't got to be highly educated to know the truth, man. Nah, not at all. Not at all. Lonzo going to say, man, I'm not educated. I dropped out of high school. That's exactly what the devil wants, is for us to bang each other out so they can sit back, watch, and laugh and get paid, and get paid. We must come together. He going to say, man, that's true, man. That's true. James said, man, they did the worst of the worst imaginable to us. From us down to our newborns, we were alligator food to them people. 3/5 human. And most of society doesn't even realize the reality of it. And that's that part. So when you say 3/5 human, this is what I've been like lighting on lately. I've been just hinting at, we want to support or participate with a government or a country whose constitution don't even see us as full human beings. Something's wrong with that, or something's wrong with us to want to even be a part of this system, or, the going ons here when, most of us know, even the educated ones know that we're not even, this is 2026. No one has went and said, hey, let's amend the Constitution and let's make sure that blacks are represented as full humans. And not only that, let's recognize, pay homage to the fact that if it weren't for blacks, we wouldn't be here, not just in terms of their power, their hegemony and the wealth or whatever, but just the people existing, where that's at. Where is that? So, it's all good, man. It's all good. Yeah, so all right, Smoke, I see you. I say, man. Bam, what it do, loved one? And salute right back to you, OG Bam. Bam says salute to the chat, everybody. All right. Compton Bam right there. Yeah. Yeah, they keep us distracted on BS, Bam. And all the while we distracted, they're growing. They're growing. They're multiplying. They are acquiring. A lot of what we yearn and desire. You know what I mean? While they're getting it done, man, we're undoing shit. A lot of it don't make sense, but that's the truth. They keep us distracted on bullshit, man. And again, we say this all the time, people. This is by design. This is by design. This is by design. Don't get it twisted. Okay, a real sister sends a shout out to you, Bam. She say, man, that OG Bam Your front hood. She say, I agree. All right, Antonio, I see you. All right. And shout out to a real sister. Peace and prosperity, you and yours. You're more than welcome to be here. This is Under the Groove Podcast. Good to see you hanging out with us. Your presence means a great deal. Hey, enjoy. Jump in like you're doing. We appreciate it. Rakufu. Ross says, man, so Bub, did you check? I did. Trust me, when I say Malcolm X did some pimping in his past, it's in his autobiography. Fact checked it today. All right, man. I hate to hear that kind of talk about Brother Malcolm. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about the individual, the brother, the black man, the melanated Malcolm X. Nothing else he was involved in. I'm talking about just him, especially as he evolved. You know what I mean? I hate to hear that. I'm gonna double check because you didn't threw that up in there. And yeah, I'm gonna double check that. It's in his autobiography. I will look at it. I will check it out, bro. Hate to hear it. If that's I might hate to realize that. Well, I'll wait to see. You went and did your research. You say, I remember what I read, bub. I'm gonna go double check. James said, I personally never cared for college or university. I don't care to sit down with a group of square weenies and have to get lectured by another square weenie Gilligan. No thanks. You know what they say about education. Well, I was about to say education all over the world, but all over the world, education isn't the same in terms of how it's disseminated, given to, the people, and kids especially. A lot of countries don't do what's done here in the United States. A lot of countries, they don't educate their citizens, their children, who end up being, adults, to serve the system or to work for the powerful. That's what happens here in the United States, from grade 1 to grade 12 into college, being educated to serve a system, very few. This is why you only have so many billionaires and so many millionaires from the United States. Very few actually, get that education where they become not a worker, but one who hires people to work. You know what I mean? So yeah, all people educate. We can see now, man, that education don't really pan out here in the United States. It's not really all that. You have people who have been educated for years and years at a time, taking up certain careers, crafts, and special studies, still can't get a job. So, to hell with that. To hell with that. All right. Our education is to condition people to go to work. Thank you for that, Alonzo. You say it's indoctrination. That's what it is. That's what it is. Let's get to this clip right quick, you guys. We can have something to talk about. We can talk about a whole lot of stuff under the sun, man. Sun's going down, but you know what I mean. Let's get to this, man, because I think this is I got this off Instagram, so excuse it, but it's all good.
Modified to be more sensitive to heat
and
frequency. When placed in the human body, they become excited from the heat.
That's
and that excitement, they vibrate.
Hold on, wait a minute. That ain't how we get down. That should have went like that. I don't like that. Nah. Yeah, there you go. Hold on. I didn't like that, y'all. That didn't start off right for me. I got to set up a certain way. That thing didn't even come in there right. All right, here we go. Uh-oh. So you can't do that. You got to stay on that.
With that excitement, magnetofaction is created and the particles slowly drift towards each other, hence self-assembly. This intrabody nano network is the first step to make the human body a device linked into the Internet of Bodies.
Something wrong. I don't like that.
The shot also changes human DNA, rendering the person a GMO owned by a corporation. This allows for the system to freely harvest psychological, biological, genetic, and physiological data from the individual without their knowledge or permission. They are now products owned by the corporation that gave them the poke. At the top of all of those corporations is BlackRock and Vanguard. Information is now the new gold, and it will be the foundation for the new financial system coming, the CBDC. The next step is a quantum dot tattoo that will slowly release quantum microdots, chips, into the human body, individualizing and authenticating all data for each individual. This is part of a transhuman agenda being initiated upon the population without their knowledge by global elitists working primarily through the WEF, the WHO, the IMF, and other global control systems that are not any part of one government. This technology will link every human being into the Internet of Bodies. It is the foundation for a global CBDC that will be controlled with quantum systems. This technology has the capacity to fully surveil and control every individual.
All right. I don't know. I want to start that from the beginning because I
I'm
swear.
saying these things out of love for my fellow humans. The shot is not medicine. It is an intra-body nano network administered through. What they're finding in people are not blood clots. It is self-assembling, self-replicating nanotechnology. Lipid nanoparticles that have been modified on a molecular level, wrapped in pegylation, polyethylene glycol, one of the components that can be used to make hydrogel. The lipid particles are modified to be more sensitive to heat and frequency. When placed in the human body, they become excited from the heat, and that excitement, they vibrate. With that excitement, magnetofection is created, and the particles slowly drift towards each other, hence self-assembling. This intra-body nano network is the first step to make the human body a device linked into the Internet of Bodies. The shot also changes human DNA, rendering the person a GMO owned by a corporation. This allows for the system to freely harvest psychological, biological, genetic, and physiological data from the individual without their knowledge or permission. They are now products owned by the corporation that gave them the poke.
All right, we got to that part. So yeah, I don't know, man. What you think? What do you think? This is some serious stuff going on, man. And they got us stuck on stupid to where all we do is trip on one another. We're not even worried about a concern with what's happening in the world or what they're doing or what they want to try to do to us. We more like trying to outdo the next brother or sister. Well, all the while they're trying to outdo all us. They're trying to end us, control us. And we stuck on this stuff. Bad business, man. Bad business. That poke. When they hit you with that poke, gotcha. Rakufu said, man, remember a lot of our semi-woke conscious community are getting indoctrinated instead of educated. As you know, it's a big difference. That's true. All right. Alonzo said, man, you right, Ra. Peace to you and yours, bro. Again, he said, remember, a lot of our semi-woke conscious community are getting indoctrinated instead of educated. As you know, it's a big difference. All right. All right, Acres home. Long time no see. Good to see you back, bro. Peace and prosperity to you and yours, man. Good to see you. You already know how this thing go, man. We up in this thizzle. You say, what's up, G, man? Ain't nothing much, man. Life, you know, what we call, man, just, hey, peace and prosperity, man. That's what's happening. Hopefully everything is everything on your end. Good to see you back amongst us, bro. Yeah. Okay, Smoke. So I already know Smoke was going to be in the chat with, you know, his understanding of what's going on. It is called transhumanism. But the gist of what she's saying is, and I don't know if you guys have heard this before or not, how the money is going to change. There's not going to be paper money in a minute. And everything's going to be done through some type of chip or something, you know. The banks are right now, and as we speak, they're lining up, or they're reconstructing their process in terms of how they do, you know, how they do banking, personal banking, you know, checking, you know, the business, whatever. They're doing some stuff now where you're not even going to have any say over how much you can pull out the bank. Now, how much you put in might be something they're not going to argue with you about, but how much you can get out, they'll determine that, you know. Not only that, but the system is not going to work or be regulated under paper money anymore. It's going to be, you know, what she was expressing. It's going to be all, you know, I don't know the word for it, not necessarily computer generated, but it's going to be digital. It'll be digital, you know. Then there's the tattoo. We've all heard about and they called the tattoo, in other words, mark of the beast, right? I remember this conversation a long, long time ago. I was in youth authority, and they were talking to Christians would come in and minister to us, you know, as heathen, you know, and excuse me, and they would talk about the mark of the beast, and they would put it in the respect that in order to eat, get water, or anything, you buy clothes, you had to have that mark, a tattoo, either on your hand or on your forehead. I remember that conversation like it was today, man. You know, they were talking about corporations like Procter and Gamble and what they're really up to and what they've been doing. This was in the 1980s, the early 1980s. They were talking about this to us, you know. I never forgot it, you know, but yeah, man, it's going on, man. You're gonna have to have certain things. She just mentioned that tattoo, and in that tattoo, though, it ain't just something probably, you know, to get you, you know, where you spend something at a store, but it's gonna have nanotechnology in it. You know what I mean? And they're saying this stuff, man, is the way it's gonna work. It's gonna be able to assemble. I don't know about replicating itself, but it's gonna be able to assemble in your body and do something to you. She said that when people suffer blood clots, those aren't really blood clots. Got me to thinking like, damn, no shit. I've had blood clots before, you know, just out of nowhere. I don't recall taking no shots though from nobody though. You know, I don't know shit. How that could have happened. I'm thinking about it now. Yeah, I remember the last shot I took. It was in prison, and it was a tetanus shot. It was a tetanus shot. Yep, I was finna come home. They gave me that shot. That was the last shot I remember getting, you know, before I got, you know, ended up with, you know, blood clots, you know, in my lungs. I'm like, all right, what the fuck, you know? But yeah, man, so ain't no telling, man. You know, she mentioned Black Rock, man, and hey, they cold with it. You know, they are cold with it. But yeah, man, this is what's happening. This is what we're facing, man. We're facing a situation where individuals are not able to see the forest for the trees because there's a lot distracting us, while those who are in charge, these big, huge corporations, these people that really run everything, are lining everybody up, man, for the takedown, you know. And the way they got this technology set up, it is to control the human being. I read somewhere where this transhumanism, it also concerned, or they said, well, we're bringing this about because we want people to be able to live healthy lives. We want to, you know, do this to get rid of disease, you know. It's somewhere in the past, I also read longer lives. The word immortality was in there in that paragraph. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know. So I got to tinkling with that. And I said, wait. So if there, see, something ain't right. Something ain't right about this whole spiel, man. So you're gonna prolong lives by doing away with so-called diseases and illnesses, all right? And so then that means many more people will live, all right? Okay, so how does that serve the earth in terms of how it can have enough resources to take care of, let's say, 20 billion people? You know, how does that work? You know, how does that work? I don't see that. I don't see that. And that's why I say there's something else to this. There's something else to this, man. There's no way. Man, Smoke going to say, man, the NPC program. And break that down, man. NPC program, Smoke. What is NPC? What's that acronym? What that stand for? All right, Rakufu, you up in there. You talking about Malcolm, man. Talking about Malcolm. He said, I've been a hustler. I had been a hustler. I had been a pimp. All right, bro. Smoke said, man, they passed that around our communities, plague whole villages and towns with what was that, NPC? Alonzo says, man, look, bub, the vaccine could have already been that, right? How do we know we never took the shot? Right. And I've always said, me and my wife, we talk about a little bit of everything. One of my things is this, man, and this when I was telling you guys, I have issues about going out to eat. I don't see who's preparing my food. I don't know what the hell they doing. I just don't know, and I got a real issue with that. The same goes for medicine. I don't know for real, man. I just know some dude called himself a doctor, wrote me this prescription. I went to the pharmacy to get it. The prescription comes from some pharmaceutical, some super pharmaceutical. Them people are really, really rich. They run a lot of shit. But I don't know what come on, man. I don't know. But they want me to take this shit. Then you have all these prescriptions being prescribed to individuals. And the coldest part about it is that to take one prescription to heal what ails you causes another ailment, another sickness, another disease, or even death. Like, hey, man, come on, what's going on? We don't know, When they go to take something from us, I don't know, man. I don't know. When they take blood from us, when they inject us with something, I don't know what the hell. I just don't know. And I'm always leery of that stuff, man, because I don't know. What are they shooting in me, But time will tell, especially when you come now, when you got this new thing called Agenda 2030. And I'm telling you, man, I'm not surprised. So Agenda 2030 is going to hit around the same time they're saying AI is going to be at its most productive stage. At that stage by 2030, they say AGI will be well on its way. Artificial general intelligence, 2030. And it's in line with Agenda 2030. I don't know. Hey, man, I just know we don't got a whole lot of time to get this shit together, to get it right. Because, if they want to try this shit by 2030, then that means there's going to have to be something's going to have to take place for them to be doing these injections, poking us and putting this stuff in us. Something. I don't know. Smoke said, man, they passed that around. Okay, our communities plagued whole villages and towns. Okay. Bub, you heard about that black guy that unalived? Yeah, that was some sad shit, man. And it makes you wonder, man, what the hell went on, I was real spit. Let me finish. Hold on. Bub, have you heard? Bub, you heard about the black guy that unalived 8 black children in Louisiana? Most was his own children. Yeah, I did hear about that. Sad as shit. And I just got to thinking, what make people do that? You know, it was something about a dispute. They said initially, some type of, I think, domestic dispute or something. Domestic dispute. I don't know. But wait a minute, man. What that got to do with the kids? And then I don't know. Yeah, I heard about it, man. I don't know, man. I swear to you, man, when I was reading, the byline, the title, and my mom was like, man, don't let this be a brother. Don't let this be a brother. Now why I said that, I don't know, man, but I think it may be because we're in this time, man, with, just shit is happening, man, in a way where, our people are starting to do crazy shit that we were never really known to do. It's not to say a family, blacks haven't done that to, but damn, man, we're starting to see more and more of this stuff. Yeah, I don't know, man. I saw that, man. It kind of messed me up, man. I wasn't feeling that. Alonzo said, man, Bub, these companies mentioned to the video are CIA company fronts. Yeah, no doubt. But again, when we're talking about, certain agencies like that, the CIA ain't even the worst of the worst. They aren't even the worst of the worst, man. They might have been the first ones come out. Prescott Bush and them started that, but they got some, man, the CIA minds. If they say jump, CIA gonna jump. You got one way worse than the CIA, a few of them actually. But yeah, these are experiments they run. This type of shit they come up with, no doubt. I think I caught something like that on PBS back in the day. How the CIA, they work on, they get funding for experimentation on humans, But again, they just one of many, I'm pretty sure. Just one of many. B60 said, man, we're so far behind. We so far behind in their playbook. It's a shame. Yeah, it's scary. A shame is an understatement, bro. Oh, so with a cold stroll. There you go. You say, man, for some reason, we can't maintain a sense of urgency when it comes to keeping the focus. Nanotechnology is real. Again, for some reason, we can't maintain a sense of urgency when it comes to keeping the focus. Nanotechnology is real. I'm telling you, yeah, it's real. They got this thing, man. And I just saw this maybe a month ago. It's nanotechnology, and this shit is so small, but they come together and they can walk like an inchworm. I don't know how to explain this, man. He dropped the things out of a damn little canister, and they just came together, boom, 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 and they were about that long, but they were thousands of them, but it was about maybe an inch long, and the thing climbed up the wall and everything. Nanotechnology. I said, all right, man, that shit was so small they can put that shit in you and control that shit, code it to do whatever, and knock you off. Somebody rich and famous, probably done something they shouldn't did. You hear about them in the news tomorrow, they say they had a heart attack. Nanotechnology that went up there, man, and bust a hole in their aorta or something. You know what I mean? Ain't no telling, man. I think it's real. Man. I agree with you on that, though. Also, with a cold stroll hanging out with us tonight, y'all. That is a beautiful thing. Appreciate the support, loved one. Yeah. Alonzo like that name. Oh, so you say dope name, bro. Peace to you and yours. Yeah, man. One of our people right there, Alonzo. From way back when, man, thing first started, man. Hanging out with us. Still do from time to time. Appreciate him. Oh, so man, yeah. A real sister say, this is my second time visiting your page. The title caught my attention, but it seems to me the focus is on what man is doing and not what the creator of man is doing to wake up chosen ones, us. I think that, and I appreciate that comment. I really do, because yeah, I have an opinion. And I apologize you guys for being so opinionated. But I think that when you talk about, or as you mentioned, when we're on here, we're talking about what man is doing, as opposed to not discussing what the creator of man has done or is doing to wake us up. I think that I don't think that's accurate. I think that that's included in our conversations. So here we understand that, you know, a lot of us say this, and I don't know if you agree. We say we possess the God gene. You know, we have a part of the creator. The creator is in us. You know, this is what it is. So therefore, we've already been anointed with, you know, that power, that essence. So with that comes, you know, our DNA is scripted with so much, and so much in there. We already have the instruction, you know, we already have the creator's instruction, so to speak. It's already in us. It was given to us from the beginning. You know what I mean? The fact of the matter is, though, it's not that the creator isn't doing anything to help. The creator done what it was supposed to do. You know, it created us, and not only that, but it instilled in us everything that we need to know, that we need to do to get us where we need to be. It's not on the creator that we aren't on our game, that we aren't manifesting his gift or its gift. Excuse me, y'all, for phrasing it like that, or its gift the way we should. That's on us. That's on us. You know, everything that has been imparted to us, again, it's already in us. It was placed there. You know, we not doing what we supposed to be doing is something that we have to come to terms with, that we have to deal with. I think that the creator done it, what the creator, the most high, whatever you want to call it, was supposed to do. It's been done already. It's been done already. It's just that we are not fulfilling our obligation. That's what I think, you know. And we talk about the creator. We discuss, you know, the creator. And a lot of us here, we are under different faiths, you know, religions, you know, beliefs, whatever, you know. Some of us are spiritual as opposed to religious. Some of us are religious as opposed to spiritual. But the discussion about the Most High, Yah, you know, of the power that be, that essence, man, is always talked about here. We discuss that. What the creator of man is doing to wake us up. We think that process that you just mentioned is in effect. More and more of us are waking up. Why? Is it the melanin? It's been triggered, you know what I mean, to bring us about, to, you know, to wake us, you know, to nudge us to do what we are, or what we have been designed or granted life to do. It's happening every day. People are waking up. And then if that's the case, and if you agree, let me know. If not, that's fine, let me know. But if people are waking up, becoming conscious, then that is the creator's way, or that is the creator at work. You know? Yeah. We discuss more than anything else what we aren't doing in terms of what we're supposed to be doing, based upon the fact that a lot of us recognize, we accept, we trust that the creator, the Most High, you know, that energy, that force has already granted us, anointed us with the power to do what we're supposed to do. It's already in us. The melanin is triggered. It's something about it, right? Our melanin is our precursor to action. He gave us Yah, the Most High, The power to be gave us that. So that work, or that essence, that being, that force is already at work within us. People are waking up every day. They're coming to the realization that, hey man, wait a minute, we got the God gene. That's an awakening, man. You know, that's that melanin. It's been activated. I don't know any other way to explain that, but I like to think I'm making sense. You know, we discuss man, you know, because a lot of us are not aware of what is taking place. You know, we need to make each other aware, you know, so that we can start focusing on what really matters, what we're here for, what we're here to do. And that's the creator's work, whatever that is, whatever that design or we're designed for, or we have been created to do. It's already been instilled in us, you know. And again, we think that we're being triggered. The light is going on, you know what I mean? That energy, it's sparked. We're coming to life. We're coming to life. So I don't know. I think that it is actually happening. I would like for it to happen at a faster pace, you know, but hey, everything happens for a reason. All right. We talk about the evils of man and what, you know, how we've gotten caught up in this, because again, we think that it's necessary, you know, to, you know, make brothers aware, because a lot of us don't really get it. You know, a lot of us are so distracted with that we don't see. We can't see the forest for the trees. And that could very well be that forest, or those trees could be Yah's plan, the Most High's plan, his work at work. You know, we might not even know that you know, a lot of us don't, you know. A lot of us just may be like, hey man, to hell with that. You know, I'm in the world of man, and this is what I want to do. You know, so let's see. Let's see if what you say is real, and let's see if what the people are going through is, you know, the creator at work, waking his people up. Yeah, we are the chosen, no doubt. No doubt. And again, this is realized every day by not just us, but people all over the world are starting to understand, damn, they have the God gene, you know. But yeah, more of us need to know this. More of us need to act upon that God gene, that particle, you know, that has set us above all others. And I mean that respectfully to anybody that is not of, you know, the melanated persuasion. That's just it, man. We come from, hey. So hey, a real sister, I appreciate that. And if something in what I said don't jive with you, by all means, hit me, man. Break it down. Drop it in there, you know, wake me up. Shit. You know, if you got some gems, some jewels to drop, this is what this is for. So that's again the creator at work. You know what I mean? That you know, you get what I mean, you know. But yeah, please do by all means. And we appreciate your presence. Real spit. Real spit. Ross says, man, Bub, that is not in no way a knock on Malcolm X. Actually, it's to promote change. If he can do it, and he did it, anyone can. Any one of us can change our negative ways. I don't disagree with you. Real spit. Real spit. All right, a real sister said, much love, my people, shalom. All right. Ross said, man, so peace, blessings to Shabazz family. There you go. Alonzo said, a real sister, I agree with you. We need to get back to the laws and don't worry about this world like we do the laws. And don't worry about this world like we do. The laws should be our first concern, I think. Alonzo saying, peace of you and yours, sister. Okay. Rakufu said, just said the whole city's hurting. B60 says, Rakufu just said the whole city's hurting. Yeah, you talking about down there in Louisiana, man. Yahuwah is my Alua. I hope I said that right, Alonzo. And that's what you were expressing last week on the Zoom, right? In terms of how to name or call the creator by his, you know, his right address, his right name, I think, you know. Yeah, AB6. I knew it was a domestic issue, man, and that's sad again, man. That's sad that went down, bro. Lonzo said, man, I don't deal with anything the little black hats believe or translate. We only use the Ged's original language the book was written in, the Geese. I hope I said that right. No Paleo Hebrew. No Paleo Hebrew. Huh? You're going to say, man, I don't celebrate the holy days when they do, and our calendar is different from the black hats. Damn. Speaking of that, I just saw some shit last night, Alonzo, about the Lebo. They're on the continent of Africa. Lebo, they said they are bona fide Hebrews or Jews, bona fide, you know. Was it Lebo? Lebo or Lebo? Let me know if I'm saying that right. But anyway, the little black hats tried to talk down on them and said there weren't any other, that they were the originals, weren't no others, you know. And come to find out, some scientists went down there to Africa and ran the test on them, and they all had the markers of the first. I don't want to butcher what he said. I forget the guy, the Jew's name from way back when. But anyway, these black people had his DNA marker, you know, for sure, had his marker. And so those of the little black hats was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you know. Then come to find out also they have a different, I want to say this right, not understanding, but a different, understanding meaning of a Torah. The Torah is different. If I'm expressing that right in terms of how I heard it, it's supposed to be different. It's not the same thing from what I understand. They put a lot of in the Torah that the black hats use, they put a lot of ritualistic stuff in there, you know. And those in Africa, we don't do all that, you know. It's pretty much still by the book, you know. So I don't know. I think the name was Lebo, but they say they're some of the oldest on the planet. And there was another location, as a matter of fact, in Africa. It was two. It'll come to me. But yeah, man, you know, not just that book in terms of, you know, not trusting nothing they put in, but, you know, the other one as well. All of them. You know, they all, you know, been some, I'm pretty sure, you know, some tampering or some, you know, rewrite revisions done to them, you know. I think so. Rakufu said, Bub, I said the same thing. Don't let it be a black man. Then I seen all those sisters standing around the front porch of the house on the news channel, and I knew it's one of ours. Yeah, when I saw the makeshift, the candles and all that, you know, the memorial, I said, man, I seen all them sisters. I said, yeah, man, damn, this dude. Yeah, the word for the day is exigency. Oh my God, y'all don't know what's wrong tonight, y'all. It's okay, and I know I do. Yeah, exigency. I hate myself. Well, I don't hate myself. I got it here though. What it mean? Yes, we discuss all of that. Okay, here we discuss everything. Everything is on the table. Exigency. I hope I said, yeah, I said it right. All right. Yeah, exigency. Yeah, exigency. Yeah. An urgent need or demand. Huh. That's simple. All right, Alonzo, who you talking to? Oh, okay, my bad. The real sister. She said, you said, yes, we discussed all of that. Here we discuss everything. Everything is on the table. Kimberly Mitchell said, crazy. Crazy, they say we can contract it through. Sorry about that, y'all. We can contract it through our nose and nostrils too. But in terms of that nano shit, they got movies, man. I've actually seen these movies, and I'm telling y'all, man, we talked about this shit, how how life imitates art, you know, because in the movies, I've seen it first, where, I mean, they have these minuscule particles, man. I mean, for real, man, barely detectable. You can't see them by the eye. They're just small. You know, you do your hand like that in the light, you see little shit come off your fingertips. But when you breathe them in, they go right in there. And I think some of this shit might have, man, they may be able to do that. This shit floating in there, they drop it down, you know, in a certain area. You know how they used to do them. They said they were spraying for West Nile disease. You know what I mean? The mosquitoes, helicopters flying low over areas and shit, you know, and spraying, you know, and in most cases, they wasn't telling people they was doing this shit. You know, so I still think they do it like that. You know, they'll spray some shit. People are unaware what they spraying. The shit, you know, it's in the atmosphere, it's in the air. You can breathe that shit in easily. It's just so many different ways, I think, of getting it in there. It could be in the food. It could be in the food, you know. They're modifying the food now. They are producing man-made food. They're making it. You know, so ain't no telling what's in that. Ain't no telling, man. Contact through our nose. Okay, a real sister said, facts 100. We turned our backs on our creator, and in order to change our current condition, we must turn back to it, creator, and keep his laws. All right. Everyone knows who we are, except us. And this is something we say all the time on this get down right here. A real sister, we say this often, and every sit down we say, man, everybody knows but us. Everybody knows but us, man. And we also recognize that a lot of what we see in our communities in terms of these distractions, they're there so that we continue to not know, that we stay ignorant, you know, of who the hell we are and what we actually are here to do. If it's to follow the laws of the Most High or whatever, however you guys, you know, describe it, then, you know, they are hard at work seeing to it that we don't come into the know, that our melanin isn't triggered, you know what I mean, or something to that effect. But yeah, everybody knows this but us, and that's the sad part. I have to agree with that. You see a real sister say, everybody know who we are except us. We're the world's greatest kept secret. They know better than us, man. Rakufu says, we all possess that extra terra astral, or that additional amount of the God DNA gene on Earth, equal terra, meaning Earth in Latin, from the astral realm, thus extraterrestrial element. All right, there you go. Y'all we didn't got Ross started. Where Fat Rat at? This will be a great conversation. But go on and keep doing, man. Drop them jewels, bro. I'm gonna read that again. We all possess that extra terra astral, or that additional amount of the God DNA gene on Earth, equal terra, meaning Earth in Latin, from the astral realm, thus extraterrestrial element. Remember the other day we were discussing, I was showing you guys the graph about the RGC, the foundation, you know, the people, what people should be standing on. And underneath there was the periodic table, right? And I went on to say that we consist of every element in there, you know, on that periodic table. But by the same token, every bit of that we see is also, you know, in is a part of the universe, makes up the universe, you know. And that, for me, I think that's, that's special because everybody do not have what we have. They're different, aspects of melanin even. Some melanin don't even compare to what we possess. You talk about the DNA strands, there's a lot we got. Hey man, what the hell you doing? That thing. Hey, I'm telling y'all, my phone be coming on. They spying on us. Yeah. It be times I want to just turn the phone off, but I need it. I need it for a little, a little this and a little that. But anyway, I think that, yeah, man, Kendrick said it, man. That's why that song hit so hard. They not like us. And I don't think he meant it just in terms of culture. You know what I mean? I think, it surpassed that, man. It was beyond just culture. That's what I think, man. Again, that's why it hit so hard with us. It expressed what a lot of us already know, But again, when we're talking about, I don't know if I'm calling it, if I'm labeling it right, even referring to it as religion. But when we're talking about the creator and, all this, we're talking about a connection that we supposed to have that no one else has. You know what I mean? So I in a lot of respects, I want to be careful about a lot of stuff I say because I don't want to offend nobody. You know what I mean? And if I do, I want to say, hey man, respectfully, I'm going to say this, that, and the third. But for me, I think, man, just the fact that there's a lot going on with us that's not going on or happening with other people, other demographics, other ethnicities, if that's the right way to put that. But here we are, man. Here we are, and I don't think there's no one here like us. It's just me. That's just me. Alonzo said Jubilee is coming. What's Jubilee, bro? What's Jubilee? Kimberly said, damn devils, get your spirits right. Then people cannot take our souls. We're living forever. Remember that. We are the holy people. And then we talked about that, Kimberly, how, now, with those people, it was controlling the physical self, us, physically, bondage, boom. Then it became this mental thing. Because that was right after the physical, you know what I mean? Run this now, and we see that to this day. It's acted out in our communities all day, every day that they run this now, they control this now. And they have been for a while, let's be honest. Now, though, if you think about it, I see, or at least I think I see the attack on the soul now. They're not just trying to diminish our souls. I think they're trying to annihilate our souls, trying to make us soulless people. When we see a lot of our people, the way they act, the way they carry on, and I don't know if drugs have a part to do with it or just life in general. I can't put my finger on it, but I think that in a lot of respects, the attack of our souls are being attacked now. They've attacked everything else, and they haven't been able to really, what's the word for defeat us, Yeah, they run everything. All right. But they still have not been able to break us. And I think that the attack on the soul is taking place. And in their minds, that's the way to get us. I think that's what they think. If it's any truth to that, I don't know. But hey, that's what I think. They're going after, they've gotten the body. They've gotten the mind of a lot of us. And now they're going after the souls of the people. That's what I think, So, yeah, we need to get our souls right. We need to strengthen our souls, man. Tap in. Tap in. Appreciate that, Kimberly. Smoke say a new ISIS, Tahuti, etc. Low H Top is hanging out with us today, y'all. Appreciate that, Low H Top. You say, hey, Bub, when did you first hear of Nip, and what did you think? And what did you think his impact in the community, good or bad? No one's perfect. Well, I don't know. I never knew the brother. You know what I mean? I never knew the brother. I looked at quite a few of his videos. What he spoke about, there's a lot of validity and strength in that. I think, yeah. So just in terms of the individual, I can't say, See, I think though, there has to be a line drawn when we're speaking to like the empowerment of the people or the excellence of the people that, trying to improve or, make the people better. There's some shit we should leave out of that equation, like when I'm talking to you guys or we're having our discussions, I never, it wouldn't put, this Hoover and this, that, and, nah, man, because that don't fit in there. You know what I mean? That shouldn't be in there. And there were quite a few interviews I've seen the brother when he's speaking, he started representing, and the good, again, there's nothing wrong with it being where he's from. That's his community. But doing it in such a way to where it can be antagonistic, and maybe even in soulful, disrespectful, then I think it defeats the purpose. Now, if you're just saying, hey, man, this is just from my community, and I don't think he was saying that. I think he was talking about us, period, But there were times I've seen him do his interviews, and he would throw in that element, and I would always think that shouldn't do that, And I was mindful of that, myself, like, hey, man, that's not something I'm going to do. I'm not going to throw the H up in there, man, just while I'm talking about something. And then what I'm talking about is supposed to involve or encompass everybody. That would include Bloods, and other Crips, neighborhoods. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do that. The objective is to draw them in, to attract them for us to work together. I don't want to alienate them. You know what I mean? Again, offend them and stuff. Nah, man. But I've seen that a couple of times, and I always thought, his messages could have been a lot stronger, could have reached even more. Had he not, I don't know. That was just my opinion on that. All right. So hopefully that answered your question, brother. Rakufu said, man, you mean the Limba? And then we got Rakufu said the Limba. Smoke said the Lake Bowl. We got two, yeah. And also Alonzo said the Limba tribe. All right. And Alonzo going to say, man, they are blood related to Queen Sheba, King Solomon, and the Messiah. Those are our blood relatives. Oshan, Smoke said Oshan and Mata, Ava, Papa Shungo, Olegba, Ect or ETC, yeah. Rakuf say, Bub, man, we are from a more ancient and divine frequency than all the Abrahamic faiths before Hebrews, Christians, and Muslim. My ancestors were Almighty Netter Almighty Netter is the most holiest or holies of holies. Yeah, I know you meant etc., bro. I don't know why I say ETC. Yeah, I hear you, Rakofo. Alonzo says, man, peace to you and yours. Smoke, hope all is well. Rakufu go on to say, but that is our African family's perspective, only to teach his own. That's another thing we do, right? We tell everybody all our shit, right? We teach everybody everything we know, man. And they all seem to get something from it more than we do. So you say, but that is our African family's perspective, only to teach his own. Mata, Amat, yeah. Elijah say smoke on fire, man. My smoke, yeah. Okay, a real sister say chemtrails. And everybody talks about these chemtrails, right? And there's something to that. There's something to that, You see, yeah, that's something there. They're releasing something into the atmosphere for sure. I saw something the other day where a brother was at this factory, and this factory specifically created clouds to make it rain. And I'm looking at it, I'm saying, okay, I need to make sure this ain't AI. You know what I mean? And I think that's another importance of learning AI so that we can be able to um determine whether or not that is it. You know what I mean? But the brother get to talk, he said, man, this is what they do. And he was going on to say, man, they turn these machines on, and these machines create these clouds, and they accumulate, man. Boom, boom, boom. And he said, man, before you know it, you got thunder and lightning. So I imagine they do that from whatever, factory or facility they do that from. And maybe on top of those clouds, they're seeding the clouds with something, some aluminum, I forget what they said they use to create lightning and thunder, or maybe even rain, aluminum phosphate. It's some shit they use where they could create weather, wetness, rain. So yeah, chemtrails ain't, yeah, man, that's something. And a lot of people still don't get that. A lot of people, oh no, that's just the exhaust from the plane's engines. Yeah, man, there's a big difference when you look at them. There are big differences. But we think, my wife and our whole family, we see chemtrails. We hate chemtrails, we're going inside or something. But yeah, they do that shit, man. They do that, man. They pollute the atmosphere with all kind of stuff, all kind of chemicals, man. We are stunt, what we used to call back in the day, stunt dummies or test dummies. That's what we are for a lot of them. When we talked about Planeteer, Peter Thiel and those guys over there, they're into this biotechnology stuff. All right, they are actually in that shit. This is they AI. They behind the facade of AI, or they are actually probably part of AI as well. But they are into biotechnology. I mean, full throttle. That's what they do. Planeteer. These are the same people that went down to I think Honduras and bought sovereign land inside of sovereign Honduras, where they got these laboratories and shit, and they do human experimentations with using biotechnology, man. And not only that, but they're involved in AI, and they're involved in a lot more than that. It's a whole lot going on, you guys, and we take a lot of shit for granted, man. Now, I'm with the brothers and sisters who talk about us being not just of a frame of mind, you know what I mean, but also a state of spirit, man, where we got to get it together, man, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Now, if you ask me, what do we do? I look, man, I'm more of a spiritual brother, man, and I have no connect, so I can't speak to that, man. If, Yah or, the Most High and all that, I just know, man, it's something's at work. All right. So I go with that. But the fact is this, man, we're slipping, man. We're not doing what the hell we're supposed to do, whether it's by a certain commandment, or what's inherent in our souls, man, our spirits to do. We're not paying attention. We're not getting it done. That much I can agree to, So yeah, I'm with the people when they say, man, we got to get together and we got to start listening. And also, again, there's that thing about frequency and all this shit, man. All this matters. We're not connected like we should be. And again, I say they're killing the spirit. They're trying to keep, they're doing a lot of shit to the soul, man. Through the music, through the drug. It's a whole lot going on. And I think, yeah, we don't hurry up, man, and get it together and do what the hell it is we supposed to be doing. 2 generations from now, man, 3 generations especially, all bad. All bad. Our people are those coming after us ain't gonna have jack. Worse off than we are, and that's sad. That would be sad. It's a cold disservice. B60 says, anybody see the AI commercial where Bear is growing tomatoes? I missed that. I'm glad I didn't see it, but damn, I hate you said that. I love me some tomatoes. Now I don't know what the hell. Oh, did anybody not see but hear that they're actually growing functioning human organs now? Damn a ear. They're growing livers and shit now. This shit is off the hook, man. It's off the hook. Rakufu, man, said, man, the sacred, most holy, and divine laws of Kemet, so-called Egypt, 42 laws of Maat, a whole lot more than just 10 Hotep. All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, Alonzo, my phone, I'm telling you, man. And you know, they tell us all the time, these phones never turn off. They're always recording. They're always collecting our data, you know. So it should be no wonder to any of us when we go to our phones and something pop up, and if we really paying attention, folks, we say, damn, I said something about that, or something was spoken about that, and here this ad is for that. You know, just an indication that these phones are never off. They're always recording, you know, they're always listening and looking, you know, just what it is, man. It's so intrusive, man, but it is what it is. And that what that is just say, man, that's just an example that certain constitutional rights don't really exist. It's just all cap. It's all cap. And speaking of these constitutional rights, so they did pass that bill where they could they sent back a clean, reauthorized FISA spy bill. Let me call it that. All right. Our reps in Congress, a lot of blacks, passed this bill to where the thing originally got started, man, around 9/11, so that they can spy on so-called terrorists. All right. Come to find out, they were using the spy shit on Americans. They want it renewed now specifically, and go read this if you guys don't trust what I'm saying, for blacks. They want to know what blacks are doing. So the blacks in politics signed off on them is going to allow them to use this spyware, or the government being able to go in. Well, first off, go to these corporations that got all our information, buy the information from them, you know, Amazon, all of them, buy the information, take the information, go through it, and learn each and every one of us. You know, so they suppose they had worked out a deal to let it go for only 18 months. I like, what the hell? 8 minutes is too long, you know? But this is what's going on. And again, all this shit is connected, man. You know, all of it is connected. You know, these phones, they don't have to go and buy no information from nobody. They got the apparatuses. They have the wherewithal ability. If they wanted to, they ain't got to subpoena any of these 18. None of them men say, man, we want that. And on the face of it, they'll say, oh no, we fought tooth and nail, you know. We're not giving up, you know, we honor their privacy. No, man, they giving that shit up. They giving it up. And so that's what's going on, man. You know, so all this shit is connected though. Yeah, that damn phone, and it does that a lot, Alonzo. That phone comes on. Hey man, we have a refrigerator that interrupts us while we're talking. So I don't talk around the refrigerator. You know, it's one of them Samsungs with the screen on it and the computer in it, and got, you know, the whoever it is, Siri, Alexa, one of them bras. I don't talk around that dang computer, because one night we were having a conversation, a serious conversation in the dining room. The thing chimed in and said, wait a minute, repeat that? I didn't get that. And it mentioned what we were talking about. I said, yeah, all right. Yeah. Now, why I went and bought that, I regretted that I bought that refrigerator. So I don't talk around that refrigerator. You know, hey, man, especially if it's something that's just serious, you know, some family or whatever. Nah, we're not going to have no discussions, man, you know, with the refrigerator. Right. You know, put the refrigerator out on the back porch or on the backyard somewhere, then come on, let's talk about it. But other than that, man, So, yeah, these phones ain't the only thing. The TVs do it too, y'all. The TVs do it too. The TVs do it too. Exigency. Damn. exigency. I don't know what's happening with me today, y'all. But yeah, we talked about the meaning already. A pressing need or demand that requires immediate action. Example, scholarly tone, exigency. Exigency. Oh my God, y'all. I'm gonna stop fucking with this. I'm butchering it. Exigency of the situation necessitated immediate institutional intervention. All right. Thank you for that definition, bro. Hey, Pope, what it do, man? You say I'm back. I was in a meeting with my coworkers, but I know the best live, which is UTG School in the Class, man. We got him up in here tonight, though, Pope. Man. All right. And Smoke said, man, our connection to source is the pineal gland as the God gene. Yeah, that thing right there. Is that also, or could that also be considered a call our third eye? The black dot, you know? Tell me about that, Smoke. What you think? All right, Alonzo said, man, every 7 years is Jubilee. 7, 14, 21, 21, 28, excuse me. All sevens, okay? Jubilee is something the Most High established at the beginning of creation, made 7 a sacred time that's supposed to be set aside for praise to Yah. Alonzo going to say you don't become an adult into your third Jubilee. So that would be 21. Yeah. So every 7 is a Jubilee. All right. All right. I learned something. Rakufu said, man, the black man need a collective returning with the frequency of our African origin spiritual concepts from their perspectives and not from outsiders' interpretations, in my humble opinion. But I think that's correct. We talked about this. See, that's not the only thing that we need to return to, but that's one of the first things we should return to. You know, one of our problems is we function on the perspective of them rather than our own, which point you just made, the valid point you just made. And again, that's that white gaze, man, that's in full effect, you know. And it's not just how we see ourselves, you know, we see ourselves through their lens, but it's also how we tend to think about ourselves because we think of ourselves through their thought processes, you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, it would probably behoove us, man, to have our own perspective. In fact, it would. But where do we start, man? I mean, I think there's a start, but again, for me, I don't think it's rapid enough, or you know, it's proceeding at a rate it should be, you know. And why is that? I don't know. Maybe because they're working, you know, double time to keep us distracted, you know, to keep us from not focusing on the focus. I don't know. But yeah, you have a grand point in that. Yeah, that's what we should be doing, returning to our essence, you know, to who we are, you know, in terms of what our original or spiritual perspectives are. That would be a great help, I think. Okay, so a real sister said, I read labels of things I purchase for your information. Check products for the label, bioengineered chemicals in this product. Yeah, my wife and I are like that as well. We don't eat bread. So our son, he had bought some bread, you know, at his home, right? And, you know, he forgot about the bread. He didn't eat the bread. Bread been there for a long time. He said, man, wasn't no mold on the bread. And, you know, he went to look at the label and there it was, you know. And that, yeah, again, that's that GMO, you know, that genetically modified shit, or it's bioengineered, you know. And again, that could be a product that's man-made more than anything. You know, it might not even have real wheat or even GMO wheat in it. It could be a man-made product. You know, I don't know if I told you guys about the time I saw them make a head of lettuce in a bin of water. They made a head of lettuce right there, man. They made it pour some solution, some liquid, something on top of the water, put their hand in it and shook it up a little bit. The solution started to wrinkle like lettuce, and he boom, sat that one there, did another one, made a head of lettuce, man. So yeah, I think they're going to get to the point where they're going to allow some of these people who are bioengineering foods to lie on the labels if they aren't already doing that. If they aren't already doing it, they very well may already be doing that. As far as we know, again, we don't know jack. From what they shoot into us, what we breathing out of the atmosphere, to what we eat, we don't know. They just decided to tell people that, hey, drinking water out of plastic bottles, you're drinking plastic. So they may allow them not to tell us. And the FDA, as we all know, don't mean jack. They can give a flying flick, man. The FDA, if they allow them to use these chemical dyes, these BPHs in the lining and canned food that causes cancer, come on, man. That's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. They're doing all this stuff, you guys. They're doing every bit of this stuff to us. Craig Johnson said, man, you spoke on that last time, Pfizer 702. There you go. It's the title for anyone interested. So yeah, man, Pfizer 702. It's a spy deal. I brought it up because one brother in particular, Representative Gregory Meeks out of New York, he's a part of the international spy, committee. You know what I mean? He was the chairman at one time, but now he's just on the board, in that, in that committee. But he has pull with the CBC, which is the Congressional Black Caucus. They do what he say, him and Jim Clyburn. Anyway, he went to them because, let it be told, allegedly, the AIPAC wanted this bill passed. The AIPAC is an Israeli lobby, and let it be told, again, you got to go check, man. They got this thing called Tracker AIPAC, and you put any black politician's name in there, and it's going to come up whether or not they receive money from this Israeli lobby or from the Israeli regime, because really the lobby worked for the Israeli regime. Anyway, long story short, they got at him, and he went right on over there, and they were most of them were initially like, we're not gonna vote for this. We're not gonna pass this because it's spying on our people. By the time he left, this is what the report said. Allegedly, they were all on board. So I just saw something yesterday where it supposedly passed, and they put a time limit on it, 18 months or something. And then again, I say 18 months, not even 8 minutes. Damn that, not even 8 seconds. In the end, why are our people doing this to us? Yeah, that was the Pfizer 702. Appreciate that, bro. Yeah, and that's an old one right there, a real sister. My mom used to say that back in the day. When you trust in the Creator, Yah, no weapon formed against you shall prosper. You say hallelujah. And there's that Yah again. Yeah. Yeah, my mom used to say that all the time. Sure did. Craig Johnson said the phone, TV, fridge, Siri, Alexa, all of it listens and records. I did, sister. A real sister said, please read my comment regarding food ingredients labels. I'll read it again for you because that's informative. There's those jewels that we don't get enough of, our people don't pay attention to, and, by not doing so, something can go wrong, you end up sick. Anyway, real sister says, I read labels of things I purchase. FYI. Check products for the label. Bioengineered chemicals in this product. All right. There you go. And again, we do that too. I don't know. I've always been like that. I always looked at what the ingredients, how it was made, the value of it in terms of health, what, how it was nutritious to you or how it wasn't, how much sugar is in it, how much sodium, stuff like that. I've always been one of them kind of guys, So yeah, appreciate your comments though, sister. Thank you. Kimberly said, man, Black Fist 100 love. I'm getting my orange UTG t-shirt with the hand tonight to watch my new orange Cortez kicks. All right, you up in there, you styling. You're gonna be styling. Yeah, we'll put them new t-shirts out there too, you guys. That no vote, no check, no vote, no reparations, no vote. Now I had a couple others too. Kimberly said she getting her gear ready. Hey, yeah, this is 420, man. I'm in the way. James, where you at? I ain't seen James in a minute, man. You got him a nice flip. All right, you guys. It's about that time, though. Alonzo said, man, feed my cells food that makes them perform the best they can. Yeah, I'm like that. Like I said, me, I'm a veggie, man. So, I'm already in the game, man. I'm already in the game. But my thing is, so I don't eat I won't eat fruits. No, I take that back. Every now and then, my wife has some grapes and ain't got one seed in. I'll be like, baby, why you buying these grapes? And she said, hey, baby, these are the only damn grapes they got at the store. And I'm like, no, man, they got it. She said, ain't no grapes with seeds in the stores. So we there's a grapevine in back of my house, in my neighbor's yard. So I intend to go cut off one of them vines or wait till the grapes grow, get the grapes, get the seed out and plant my own. But grapes are one of them fruits, man, you want to have that around. But anyway, I don't eat fruits with or those things that don't have seeds. Like, nah, I don't need it. I don't need it. Farmers market, yeah, that's one of the places. Well, you don't see a lot of them around. Well, there are a couple around here. Yeah. But they're not, they're more like seasonal. So we should be seeing them next month, June or so. They pop up, every weekend, boom, they're there. Yeah, but farmers markets are the place to go to get them, no doubt. Okay, again, Alonzo said, man, feed my cells food that makes them perform the best they can. Let's see how this works. Smoke say, man, Rakufu said, man, this didn't happen as a free side-by-side comparison of religions where people could calmly read different traditions and choose. All right. For most Africans brought to the Americas, the shift towards Christianity and later in some communities, Islam. And you went on to say this didn't happen as a free side-by-side comparison of religions where people could calmly read different traditions and choose. Got you. Yes, sister, no doubt. A real sister said, man, fruits that don't have seeds is GMO, and we're quite aware of that. Yeah. But you know what? We'd be surprised that a lot of our people are not aware of that. A lot of people, I don't eat watermelon. I was telling my wife just this morning that I'll try it, but it got to have the seeds. And I said that because I've seen watermelon served as a few functions I've been to where they had no seeds and our people just eating it. And I'm like, hey, that a GMO, and they know what GMO was. So I'm like, okay, and they munching on the watermelon like, man, shut the hell up. Let me eat my watermelon. It's just, the image that comes to mind, man, you know, these people have messed us up, man. But anyway, yeah. Fruits that don't have seeds are GMO. B60 said, man, every now and then you get lucky and find a seed. Every now and then, yeah, but I bet I agree. The best bet, man, is to hit a farmer's market in order to get, you know, or where you like to think you're getting a non-GMO product, you know what I mean, or fruit, vegetable. Rakufu said happened under coercion, restriction, and adaptation, not open intellectual choice. And I know what you're talking about. We had that discussion with one of my brothers, man. He hasn't been in here since, but that's fine. Still my brother. I still love and respect him. And I talked about how I saw my opinion was I seen religion as a control mechanism, you know. That's just how I saw it, you know. And you know, and I love my brother, man. I ain't heard from him since, you know. My brother since, man. I hope he's well. I put out there, man, that he's well and he's doing what he do. You know, I send my shots out to him. DB, love and respect, homie. Love and respect. Queen Nzinga says no seeds on the local popular stores, but there is a store on Crenshaw and about 76 or 78 that has seeded fruits. You have to search for them though. Yeah, real spit. That's the truth, man. All right, you guys, I got to cut it short. I'm really an hour and a half behind my schedule to eat. My wife has created a new schedule for me. We on this thing now. I'm about to start working out again and everything. So, you know, just to make sure, you know, we give ourselves a few more years. We want to see this thing happen. We want to see the evolution of our people. You know what I mean? So we're going to make sure we're around and able body just in case we're needed. You know, yeah, real spit, man. Black first, everybody. B1, black first. All right. Hey, this is how we do it. First, please like, share, follow, comment, and subscribe if you see fit. This is Under the Groove Podcast. This is where we focus on the focus. All right. We get it in with our people every day. B1 equals black first. Love yourselves. All right. Love yourself. And that way you'll know how to love your brother or sister. That's really the only way to do that is to have love for self. You know, take care of yourselves so that when the time comes, you'll be able to help take care or support another brother and sister. That is mandatory. And I think that's just the way it's supposed to be. All right. That's just the way it's supposed to be. You know, that's not some mental concept. I think that's more spiritual. That's just that's us, part of our essence. We're supposed to do that. So that is love yourself, love each other. All right. That being said, man, hey, listen, power is in the people. Power is in the melanated people. We got the power. We just don't know it, you know. And for those who know it, we haven't figured out just yet how to use it, you know, how it was intended or how it's intended to be utilized. All right. That being said, man, power is in the people. All right. Power is in the people. You are, you have been, and you will be under the groove. One love, everybody, and have a blessed and peaceful night. All right. See you on the next one. One love.
Count the names, count the bodies, count the victory. Cullen Hughes, Hurst, and writing future history. From the Apollo to the borough to the sphere. Where the echo of those Harlem nights still ringing clear. So when they ask what happened in those tenement flats, between the spirituals and where consciousness is at, tell them we transform suffering to scholarship and song. Tell them we've been telling you we're brilliant all along. The Renaissance will prologue every decade since the sequel. Every black child born's continuation of the people who survived the Middle Passage, survived the Jim Crow laws and built magnificence from nothing but their vision and their flaws. That's in the sergeant. This is once a less than. Had this, and recitations. Please don't you, I can't stop us. Power sensitive, watch the applause. pause for pose. Need your data, toes, and constant problem when the wedges wanna build the season. Big, now don't get the pause. It's just erasing up the cons, plead them up, it's off the main. Make it on the fans, turn and neck and love the durn. Suffers like a kisher. You were wrong to preaching up on side is each alone, but on the shit and untruth, and vet someone the very inch on Gary Land. Be hell in heaven, you see what the bonafide. You wait something for the marker, make the key to pull the club and saw the boards to the singer land is carried open slowly. Keep us looking on my mother, break it, generous, more than he and let the peasant be. It's every time we keep a spawn.